Hello everyone. So today topic is scopes. So I'll explain what is scopes. So scopes is determine the accessibility and visibility of variables. So accessibility, or we can say like visibility. Visibility. So that is the scope. So there are like four types of scope. Like in first one is a like global scope. First is global scope. So global scope is variable declared outside any function or block, and it is accessible anywhere in code. Variable declared outside any function or block, and also it is accessible anywhere in code. So now I'll explain using code what is global scope. Online JS compiler. So let's suppose let global var, and let's say like I am global, and then I create one function like show global, and then inside the like console.log global var. So we will firstly we will call a function show global. So we will get output I am global. See, I am global. So why it is happen? Because is like in global var is declared in the global scope, and it can be accessed both inside the like show global function and outside it also. If I will do like in console.log in outside global var, so it will also print I am global. See, so that is the global scope. And the second is block scope. Second, I'll explain first like function scope. So in that function scope, huh. So in that function scope, variables declared inside a function with var, let or const only accessible within that function. Variable declared inside a function with var, let or const, and also it is accessible within that function. So that is the function scope. Now I will explain in code how function scope work. So in that function scope, let's say like one function name is like greet, and then let message, let's say like hello, and then console.log message. And if I will do like in console.log in outside also, like message, and then call a function greet. So first we will get output hello, and then here in line number 13 we will get output reference error. Why? I will tell you. See. So what happened here? Like in that, let message hello declare a variable called message, and in that, because it uses let the variable, has block function, has like block function or scope, meaning it's only accessible within the function. It means like in within the greater function. And if it's the outside the function, you try to log message with console.log message, like I writing the console.log message, but message doesn't exist in the global scope, only in the function scope, and we will get error like in message is not defined. If I will, so this show how function scope variable cannot be accessed from outside their function. If we need globally, so we have to declare outside the function. Okay, so that is the function scope. So next I will explain block scope. Variables declared with let or const inside inside like in curly braces, in, like in loops or conditionals. Okay, and it is not accessible outside the block. It is not accessible outside the block. So that is the block scope. Now I will explain in code. So let's say like if true, and then let x equal to 10, and then console dot log x. Okay, so here is like we will get like in var is not block scope, it gets hoisted to the function or global scope. Okay, so we will get error like reference error, x is not defined. Why it is happen? Like let x equal to 10 is block scope, meaning it only exists inside the curly braces block of the if statement. And when we try to access x outside that block with the with console.log x, it's javascript doesn't find it, hence the reference error. Okay, if we use like in var case, so in that time it will work like var is function scope, not block scope. Okay, so it is hosted and accessible outside the if block as long as the within the same function or global scope. If I will write in var, so it will give 10, it is accessible because var is function scope, not a block scope. So that's why it's supported. Okay, so next is lexical scope, that's also called static scope. fourth one is a lexical scope, also called a static scope. Static scope. So in that lexical scope, inner functions can access variables from their outer or parent function. Inner functions can access variables from their outer, or we can say like in parent functions. So I'll explain in coding what is lexical scope. So in that lexical scope, I write like one function name is outer, and then let outer var, and then I am outer, function inner, and then console.log, and then outer var. We will cap it outer var, and then we call a inner function. Okay, now we will run this. Okay, I forget to run outer var, outer function outer, then it will print output. See, I am outer. So now I will explain this code, like what is happening here. In this case, like outer var is declared inside the outer function. Okay, and inner is instead inner is nested inside outer, which means it access to everything in outer scope. Okay, and even if outer var is not defined inside inner, this is possible because of lexical scope, also called a static scope. So then we can say, like in JavaScript uses lexical scoping, which means functions remember the scope they were defined in, not where they are called. So that's why it will print I am outer. And because of inner was defined inside outer, it can access outer var. Okay, so that's all about scopes. Thank you.